Greetings and welcome to Hexed Countered. I'm Joe. In this video, we will be doing turn 3, which is July to December 1915, in the game The Kaiser's High Seas Fleet, The Great War at Sea, 1914 to 18, designed by Gilbert Collins and published by Compass Games. Now, this being turn 3, you can probably gather that there were previous episodes, and there were. We had a first look, a game setup video, and then turns 1 and 2 each in their own video. All of those are on the channel if you would like to catch up and have not seen them. So we're just going to pick right up here at the start of turn 3, and I'm going to try to avoid some of the mistakes I made in previous episodes and hopefully get this one correct. Okay, we begin with mutual reinforcements. These would be turn 3 reinforcements. And first and foremost amongst those is that the Russians, or first and foremost because that's what I picked up first, they get the Maria and the Velikaya, which will actually go into the Black Sea, as you can see right here. Now, I did screw up early in the game and did not put the Goeben. I had a free move for the Goeben, which is right here, to put it in Constantinople. I messed up the rule. As I mentioned, I'm going to try to avoid doing that again. Sorry, I wanted to make an adjustment to the lighting there because I was not happy with that. So to get back, I could have moved this for free, and instead I tried to move it out manually. It got damaged and had to go back to port in Austria-Hungary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in Constantinople, and it has one hit left. Constantinople has a 1 repair, only because it'll make for a little bit more interesting game if I can put it in the Black Sea, where it will be outgunned by the 2 Russian ships, but perhaps can at least make things a little interesting in the Black Sea, rather than just giving the Entente an extra victory point every turn, because no one else really will probably be able to get there, because for the Austrians to do it, they would have to cross this this Entente minefield and plus get through all of these areas to get into the Black Sea with, I'm sure, the British Royal Navy and the Italians both trying to stop them. This also makes it possible for them to perhaps get into the Western Mediterranean and bring the French into the game as well. So back to our mutual reinforcements. We have more of turn 3 to bring out here. The British get more ships, of course. We've got the Barham, Valiant, and Malaya come out in turn 4. But they do get this guy who goes with the 5th Battle Squadron, and I'm going to stick them with their 5th Battle Squadron mates, which are the Queen Elizabeth and the Warspite. And we'll just stick them there off camera on my task force chart, and this is their counter chart, which they now are eligible to have because they have 3 active ships. So that was another thing that I kind of messed up. You use this in place of the actual ship counters when you have 3 or more ships. We now do. Now, there was another thing that came up, which I'm going to correct because it was incorrect, and that was that the Poltava here was sunk in the Baltic Sea because I gave the Germans 1 extra shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in Russia here, and they have a 2 repair thing here at Petrograd, and I'm going to put 2 hits on there instead of being sunk. And I think it's 3. No, it is 2. It's 2 hits. I'm just going to put 2 hits on here. They'll be able to repair it, and that ship will return next turn. Even if I just put 1, it would be the same thing because they would still have to repair the damage. In other words, it really doesn't matter from that standpoint. Okay, back to our reinforcements. We've got another British ship, the Canada, for the 4th Battle Squadron. So I'm going to put that with the 4th Squadron. Its counter is right there. And I believe that is all of the Brits for this turn. I don't see the French don't get anything else till turn 4. The Americans don't come in until turn 7. The Russians have 1 ship left that will show up in turn 6. We add the third U-boat to the Germans. So they have 3 U-boats now. Another correction that came up last video is we can only have 1 U-boat per sea area, and they can only be deployed during bonus movement, which comes after regular movement. That's actually good because you get to see what the enemy does beforehand. And the British have a submarine, and the Austro-Hungarians also have their own U-boat, 1 each for those 2 countries. Now, looking at the Germans, they have the Koenig is listed at, no, that was turn 2. Sorry. They have all of their reinforcements. The only thing they picked up that turn was the extra U-boat. And they will be getting another U-boat in turn 4 and another one in turn 5. So eventually they'll have their U-boat fleet 5 strong. Okay, so we now go to the repair phase. So looking at the British fleet here, we've got some ships that are returning to action this turn. So we'll handle that first. As I drop them all over the place, I have to pick them up. There were a good, decent amount of them. That's why there were so many for me to drop on the floor there. So we have 1st Squadron and 4th Squadron. This was in the very first turn of the game. So we've got the St. Vincent and the Marlborough and the Colossus, all from 1st Squadron. Hercules also from 1st Squadron, and the Neptune from 1st Squadron. So the 1st Squadron gets most of its ships back, joining the Agincourt and the Collingwood. And then the Iron Duke returns for the 4th Squadron. So the 4th Squadron is now back up to 4 ships. And everybody has at least 3, so no need to worry about changing out anything over there. Now, they do still have 1 hit on the Superb, has 1 hit from the 4th Squadron. The Dreadnought, also 4th Squadron, has 1 hit. It's 2 hits for the Superb, rather. And 2 hits on the Vanguard, which is also 4th Squadron. So 4th Squadron's got 3 ships that are still in port. The British Isles have a port capacity of 10, so they will be able to repair all that damage. Yes, you can repair more than 1 point per turn. So they have 5 points of damage to repair, and they will repair all 5. Now, those ships will be able to return next turn as they are being repaired this turn. And the way we denote that is we take the counter and we flip it over. So you can see me here in the upper corner. I can put these here so you can actually see them, but nothing really to see except the reverse of them. Now, the Germans are down here, on the Central Powers or German shipyard. The German shipyard has a repair capacity of 8, and they have plenty of damage. They've got, well, let's do the returning ships first. They have 3 of those. We have the flagship, Friedrich de Grosse, Squadron 3. We have the Thüringen, which is Squadron 1, and the Rhineland, which is Squadron 1 as well. So I'm going to return these to their squadrons. 1 and, they're both, 3 and 1. Okay, so we have 5 ships now in Squadron 1 and 5 ships in Squadron 3. And, okay, so we can address this. This will come off because we're going to repair that one this turn. So next turn, this will get replaced, and I'm going to do that right now, actually, with the Yavuz Selim, which is the Turkish ship, and that's going to appear next turn. And everybody else is repaired here. We don't have any other damage to repair. There was not well, there were some battles last turn. We had one up in the Baltic Sea and a couple other places. But we now move on to the Entente movement phase. They will move their submarines during bonus movement, but we can move our dreadnoughts. So we'll put 1 dreadnought in the channel, which I like to do. Actually, I'm going to put them both in the channel. We'll put those in the channel. They're really only, actually, putting them both in the same spot, I don't think is really all that effective. They don't really do much for you in terms of if an enemy ship shows up, they basically run away, right? But this is protected by mines. So I'm actually just going to put it over here in the western approaches because they can hold that, and then I might be able to move, if I move a squadron here, I may be able to move it into the North Atlantic for an extra victory point. Our 5th squadron, as I mentioned, has 3 ships. And one of them here, actually all 3 of them, are monsters. As you can see here, you've got the Barham, which is a 5-5. You've got the QE, the Queen Elizabeth, also a 5-5. And the Warspit, again, 5-5. These are monsters. And they will add to their number the Valiant and the Malaya next turn, which are also 5-5s. So that's the strongest ship that I've seen. Those are the strongest ships I've seen in the game. We will take our 5th squadron of 3 ships and put it, let's put it in the North Sea. Okay. Our 1st squadron, which is slightly older ships, but they are, I think, 5 or 6 strong here. Whoops. 7 ships, right? All battleships, all dreadnoughts. So they will get placed in Dogger Bank. Our 2nd squadron is also pretty strong in terms of numbers of ships. There's a bunch of these guys here, as you can see. And there is a lot of them. So we're going to put them in the western approaches. And then our 4th squadron has 4 ships that are just returning to action, some of them. Iron Duke, Canada, Bellerophon, and the Temeraire. All right. So those guys I'm also going to put in the... maybe we'll put them in the English Channel. Then we have our 3rd squadron, which is down here, Battle Cruiser Squadron. We will move them into the Eastern Med. Now, there was an issue with me moving more ships than I could through strategic movement. You're limited to 3, I think. I think it's 3. Anyway, I'm not doing strategic movement, so I'm not going to really dwell on that too long. I did forget to finish the repair for the Central Powers for the Germans. Their port capacity, as I mentioned, is 8. They've got 4, 6, 8, 11, 12, 13 points of damage, leaving us with 5. So I am going to take, I'm going to leave 2 on this battle cruiser because it's the scouting. It's not particularly strong. It's a 3-3, so I'm going to leave that. That has 2. You won't repair it. This one is one of our better ships, the Kaiser, so I'm going to take its 2 points off. And it will now be a, that leaves me with 6. And here we have the König Albert, also a pretty strong one. We're going to take the 1 off of here. So that leaves us with 5. And this guy is the Prince Luitpold for 2. We'll take that. That'll leave us with 3. And we've got, what else we got? This one has 3 on it. This is the Kaiser. So I'm going to repair the Kaiser. Since we're repairing the Kaiser in, we'll keep the royal couple together here. And that is the 3 that I am repairing this turn. That means 4 ships will get repaired next turn at 1. 3 of them 1 hit, and the other one 2 hits. We will have capacity to do that. So now we can continue with our movement. Now for the all the nations except the British and the Germans have to roll for their ships to actually leave port and go to sea. All right, so we will bring the dice tower over here so we can start rolling. So we'll do the French first. They've got the Corbeil and the Paris here in Brest. 5 or 6 means they can move the ship. So it looks like the Corbeil will be able to move out into the South Atlantic. That will gain the Entente 1 victory point. Now we'll try the Paris here. It gets a 4, so it has to stay put. Jean Bart, that's a 3. And the France is a 5. Now into the Western Med it goes. And their pre-dreadnought, why not? It's a 4. They get to stay in port. So you can see that, you have some reluctant or less capable allies, right? I mean, this was the premier naval power of the world. The Germans were aspiring to be that, and the other ones were kind of, a little bit less quality, definitely smaller. Now let's do the Italians here. Got a 5, so the Comte di Cavour can come out. We'll put them here. The Dante Alighieri, no. The Giulio Cesare, no. Leonardo da Vinci, yes. Leo comes on out. Now Pre-Dreadnought also can come out. Ciao Dulio, wow. And the Andrea Doria. All right, pretty good showing here for the Italian Navy. Now we have the Austrians and the Russians left to do. Let's do the Russians first to round out the Entente. We'll start here in the Black Sea. No for the Maria. The Velikaya, however, does come out. All right, so that'll earn them another victory point since our Turk can't get out into the Black Sea. Now we've got our 3 or 4 Russian ships up here. First one comes out. That's good for them. Sevastopol, no. Gangut, yes. And their Pre-Dreadnought also. All right, the Pre-Dreadnought is kind of a non-factor, but these guys are pretty important, or that gives them a good presence there because the Germans will, of course, contest that one. It's worth 3 victory points to the Central Powers. Okay, now we'll do the Austrians, and then we can get on to the next thing here. So, actually, no, that's right. We were finishing up the Entente movement. Now we'll do the Central Power movement, but we are still going to start with Austria. Why not? Since I already have the die in my hand and the dice tower's out. 4 for the Prinz Eugen means nothing. 3 means nothing. And they've got one last shot here. And nope. So they stay put. Oh, they've got the Pre-Dreadnought, which doesn't mean anything, and will stay put as well. Okay, so that finishes them. Now we'll do the Germans. They've got 3 squadrons here that they can move out. 1st and 3rd, and they're scouting. So the 1st squadron has these guys: Rhineland, Thuringen, Oldenburg, the Posen, and the Nassau. So we need to decide where we want to put them. So I'm going to do something that I have not yet done, and you'll see this is our scouting squadron, okay? If I want to raid, coastal raid on the British Isles, you can put it there. Now, if the British battle cruiser, 3rd battle cruiser squadron, which is down in the Med, and I had forgotten about this, if they were in Dogger Bank, they could go right on top of them and we'd have a battle. And if the Germans won, they would get 3 victory points. If not, the Germans would obviously leave and get no victory points. Since they're not there, the Germans are going to get 1 victory point for having their scouting squadron raid the coast of the British Isles. Okay, so back to business. We will put the 1st squadron there in the Baltic, and we will put the 3rd squadron and the dreadnoughts. We'll put the dreadnought here, I guess, in the Baltic. The 3rd squadron will go there to Heligoland Bight. And that finishes up Central Power movement. So now we go to bonus movement. Okay, so it's bonus movement time. So I'm going to use this opportunity to move my submarine for the Brits. And we're going to put them in here. Now, they wouldn't be able to control this area, but they can attack the 3rd Squadron's ships, which is, worthwhile, especially if one of these 2 can't advance in there. And we're going to find that out in a moment as I look around and try and decide who I want to use bonus movement for. Okay, so now we're going to do some attempts to move. Now, this is the 5th Squadron, and that one actually gets a little bonus here for movement. If we look at our bonus movement table here, You can see a die roll modifier of +1 for battle cruisers and the ships of the 5th British Battle Squadron. So, and you can also see here that you need a 5 or a 6 to successfully move an additional space. So we are going to attempt to move them into here. And they rolled a 1, so they do not succeed. Now we can try with the 1st Squadron. They also do not succeed. We will try to move the 4th Squadron into the North Atlantic. And they get it. So they need to come out here. That'll be another victory point. And having done that means I do not need to attempt to move the 2nd Squadron, so I will not. And down here in our 3rd Battle Cruiser Squadron, I'm going to attempt to move that to the Aegean. And we failed. We got a 2. And now let's try for the Corbeil to go to the Azores. And they succeeded. Okay, I think that is all that I'm going to do here. The Russians can't leave their 2 areas, the Baltic and Black Seas. So that is it for the Entente. Now we'll try the Germans if they want to do anything. They will, of course, want to place their U-boats. So we're going to place 1 here. We're going to place 1 here. And we're going to place 1 here. Yeah. Now, as far as movement, I don't think we're going to try anything. I mean, we could try to move that into there or up there. Looking at what those squadrons have, the 3rd Squadron is pretty strong. Or 5th Squadron, that's the 5th Squadron. That's only 3 ships, but they're powerful ships. We'll try to move that 3rd Squadron into there. Although that would leave this area for the sub. We're not gonna do anything. We'll just stay put. Okay, so that completes bonus movement for both sides, and now we come to combat. So mines come first, but we didn't have anybody crossing any minefields. So we don't have to worry about that because our Austrians here didn't even get to go to sea, so let alone try to cross the minefield here. So let's move on to the 2nd step, which is U-boat versus merchants. So U-boats can attack capital ships or they can attack merchant shipping. If you attack merchant shipping, you roll here and you gain victory points. So let's do that. Trying to attack the subs, I mean the capital ships is more chancy. I'm going to take 2 dice. We'll start here with this U-boat attacking in the western approaches. He gets a +1 on his die roll. And he got a 6. With 1 extra would be 7. So he's going to gain a victory point. Okay. Then we'll do this guy here in the North Sea. No bonus, rolled a 2, so that's nothing. And then we'll do the 3rd one. That's a 9, and a 9 is 9 is actually 2 victory points. Oh, and you also get a +1 on turns 2 to 5. Since we're in turn 3, we're good. So that will give the Central Powers 2 more victory points to move them to 4. Of course, we're going to lose some points on sea control here. I mean, the Entente has got this thing blanketed, so they're going to pick up a whole bunch of points here once we get to that. So now we would come to combat, surface combat. Oh, we have this one to resolve. So that British sub is going to attack the surface ship. This is very simple. You roll 1 die. If you get a 6, you inflict 1 hit on a random ship. I rolled a 1, so no hit. Okay, Now, I think the only place we're going to have any combat, actual surface combat, would be here. So we have the German 1st Squadron, consisting of these ships here. So we have Rhineland, the Thuringen, we have 5 ships. So I'm going to just lay those out here on the map, as I've been doing. 2, so let's slide them down a little bit. We'll put the Russians on top. 3, 4, 5, and we'll take the Russians here. 1, 2. Now, I've been playing this incorrectly as well. Basically, it's cut off here. They get 1 extra shot. These 2 will both attack the Gangut. These guys are essentially not in the battle. I'm just going to put them back in port to avoid this being confusing, and we're going to start. So, combat's really straightforward. You roll the number of dice of the firepower of the ship. So if we were rolling for the Petropavlovsk, we roll 4 dice. And we got 2 hits. So we stick 2 hits on the Rhineland. And then we roll for the Rhineland, which also has 4 firepower. That's 5 dice. And they get 1 hit. So 1 hit to the Petropavlovsk. Now we go to the Gangut, and they will roll 4 dice, attacking that guy. They get 2 hits. 5s and 6s are hits. There's 2 hits, so they're doing pretty well here. Now we reverse it, and the Germans attack, and they get 2 hits as well. And this guy gets to fire too, so they can't break off just yet, although they are going to break off because they are 1 hit below the sink level. If the Germans sink, if the Oldenburg gets 1 hit, that's going to sink the Gangut. And they did get a hit. So this guy has been sunk. Stick a sunk on there. Okay, now, that being the case, the Russians may want to pull back and break off, or disengage rather. So the Germans are not going to disengage. Okay, they can make that call. They make their call first, and then the Entente would do it. So you can have, we're going to do it, and we get, these 2 can fire at the Petropavlovsk. It can fire at one of them with 1 die each. This is pursuit, so we're going to fire with the Petropavlovsk first, and it got a 6. So it's now put 3 hits on the Rhineland, which would force it to disengage, but this is the last round of the battle anyway. Now this one will fire, and then that one will fire, and the battle will be over. That is a miss. And they're both misses, so she gets to go back home. And will have to be repaired next turn. I'm going to flip it over and put a hit on there. And these guys will also, this one is sunk, so it's off map and out of the game. And the Germans will control the Baltic Sea, thanks to their victory in the battle. Now we would do our control. So we've got Entente, Western approaches, that guy, this guy. This one is Central Powers. This is Central Powers. That's Entente. We don't have enough markers for all the areas the Entente controls. All right. Actually, we do. Just had them turned upside down. That's a control for them. That's a control for them. That's a control for them. And they didn't get it. They didn't get there, so that is not. And this one is as well. Okay, so now we add it up. So for the Entente, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then for the central powers, we have, 1, 1. These are all ones. Right. We have 1, 2. And that's it. So that's a net of 8, and we were at -4, or 4 to the central power. So now we're at 4 for the Entente as we end the victory point. Pre-dreadnoughts control if alone. We don't have any alone pre-dreadnoughts. So now we go to the return to port. So here's an interesting little twist. Remember our French ship here, he can return to Portugal, which is a neutral country. The central powers cannot return to a neutral port or they get interned. The allies, the Entente, can. So you do this for positioning purposes, because now when he leaves port, I guess it doesn't really matter in this case, because he's going to end up in the South Atlantic anyway, same as if he went back to Brest. So that's what we'll do. But let's just say he was able to get to maybe Greece, or he's, like a French. Well, they actually had divided up. There are some advantages to doing it, but actually, they were in the. Yeah, he's just going to go back here. Just keep in mind that you can always use a neutral port for positioning purposes, because your ship won't get lost, right? They can't go there, I think, if they're damaged, though. They have to be undamaged. So we're just going to return everybody back to base here. And second and first. And our submarines. And this guy goes home. We already took our 1 victory point for him. And then these guys will go back. These are going on the German repair here. So they have 5 more hits to repair. And with 8, they will be able to repair one of those 2 ships completely. Return him and return them. These guys are all first squadron, which still has 3 ships. And the Italians will go home. The French will go home. The Russian will go home. And that is everybody. All right. So that is our situation here as we end turn number 3. But yeah, that's where we are right now. So thank you for watching. Big shout out to my members. I have 5 now. If you're interested in joining that group, you can click the join button at the bottom of, or below rather, the player screen on the YouTube site where you're watching the video probably. Anyway, if you do that, you get a look at what's involved in channel membership and what you get and all that good stuff. And the 2 tiers, Hexed and Countered. Countered is the higher tier. Gets you 24-hour free access, as well as access to the Discord for my channel, where you can chat with me and the other members about video ideas and so on and so forth. So it's not a bad deal in all. Anyway, that's going to do it. Thank you again for watching. If you want to consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing, that would be awesome. If you're already a subscriber, you are awesome. But yeah, we're done. So 40 likes and you'll get more. Otherwise, we move on. But we're done now for this one. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Countered. And until next time, as always, happy gaming.